This F-16 from FMS is a riot to fly. Come chat with us on Discord about it. The link to buy the jet and the server are both in the description. Check it out, YouTube. We got the FMS 70mm F-16 with the brand new Ace Combat 7 trigger decals from Cali Graphics for the Ocean Air Defense Force. Super sweet level of detail on these graphics. I love the way they look. I'm happy that I finally got to put some Ace Combat decals on a jet. I want to do the SU-27 from FMS next. This thing's already set up with flaperons and high G mixing, along with alpha mixing and some other good stuff. Believe it or not, I flew this thing off cam before Will showed up today, and I had actually managed to get this thing to stall going into high alpha. I thought this jet was unstallable, but it's not. And check out that burner from 5280RC.
Flat gear up. Gear down, gear up.
The gear didn't want to come back up. There we go. One of the things I like about the F-16 a whole bunch is that it's one of the most agile beginner platforms for people to learn on. It's a jet that can easily grow with your talent and skills.
22.48.
You can use the mixing to make it do other cool stuff too, like flip around like this real easy. And then you can put it into a sustained high alpha by just holding it up and stalling it apparently, which is apparently very easy to do with it at the center of gravity. But I like this jet for being able to teach people how to fly jets. This is, if you can't get the Viper 70mm, this is a really good choice. I mean, you can basically hold the stick almost full back and it just starts to kind of glide down on its own. It's a really good platform. F-16s in general tend to be pretty stable, but this one is kind of legendary in that regard. A lot of people learn to fly on this jet, and you can kind of see why. But the nice thing is too, when you get the CG further back, the plane stops fighting you and it just does whatever you tell it to do. Now, at my center of gravity, I use 150% rates, but you're not going to want to use full throws when you're doing this high alpha stuff, because you can run the risk of hitting yourself with it first and foremost, but also because it'll stall a little bit easier too. Let's try some other mixing. There we go. Flip her around.
Wing normal.
It's really agile. Now, if I was to compare this to the F-18, the F-18 kind of flies circles around this. The F-16 is a little bit more stable, which is a good thing. You know, you kind of want that for a beginner's jet. But the F-18, however, is anything but a beginner's jet. F-18s in general kind of aren't a beginner-friendly platform. The F-16 is a little bit more stable overall. It just kind of sacrifices some of that agility because the flaperons don't extend all the way to the edge of the wings.
Gear down.
There we go, flipper in. So you can't get that moment force that you'd get from outboard ailerons on an F-16. Try my best to talk. There we go, getting her lined up. All right, I guess we're just gonna do a high alpha pass with the gear out. Screw it, right? Yeah, that's the only thing I don't like about the F-16 is its roll rate is kind of not as good as the F-18. Whee! But it's still not bad to fly. You all right over there, Will?
Yep.
Hope I didn't get too close to you there.
No, you're good.
We're actually going to turn it into a high alpha pass right in front of us. If you're looking to fly something that's, you know, kind of like able to grow with your skills, this jet can do a lot of that. And if it does stall, it's not usually too hard to get out of it, which is one of the nice things about it. Trying to get with my cameraman there. Always got to put aviation safety to be, as a paramount thing. Don't want to hit my buddy. Now we're flying on SMC 3600 packs, so they're not going to be as good in flight time. Going vertical.
21.56 volt, flight pack 21.2.
But I'm not looking for flight time with this jet. I'm looking for agility. If I wanted stability or even more stability, I'd be flying on a 4400 pack, which is about the upper end of what this thing should be carrying. It's pretty common for 70mm jets. You don't really want too much weight on the wings. All right, let's bring her back in, land her, swap batteries out.
21.65 volts.
Got a little too close to my head there, maybe. But you know what? That's what makes it fun.
Gear down.
All right, let's bring her in. All right, hold the elevator back a little bit, get that nose pointed up. There's a bit of a wind coming right at it, so it should help the jet kind of settle in. Started to fall because it was stalling.
4 minutes.
There you go. All right, let's do it.
Flap gear up.
Let's do Top Gun Maverick style, bounce from tree to tree.
Gear up. 23.6 volts.
Yeah, dude. I love when you can get the center of gravity where the jet slides around like this. Go from tree to tree. We don't have to be at full throttle to do it like this. That's how agile these jets can be. The bigger ones can do this too, but they're a little bit harder to recover from. Let's go from tree to tree right in front of Will.
22.72 volts. 1 minute.
A little bit of rudder, bring it back around, do a little bit more canyon flying with it. Bring it right back around without hitting those trees. There we go. Nice and low. This is one of my favorite things to do with this airport. I was telling Will off cam that, like, if you guys really want to build your skills as a pilot, find a place like this to fly where you have to fly within a very confined space. Maybe you got a lot of like length, but almost no width. This is like 100 feet from camera to those trees. Not a lot of vertical or horizontal space to work with here. But I can make the jet fly through it, no problem.
High G. Wing normal.
And then right into high alpha, right? It's so goofy.
23.
But this jet is, you know, maybe it's not as agile as the 70mm F-18,
22.54 volts.
but it's still really good to fly. Let's keep it in high alpha. Turn it to the left. There we go. It's still a good jet to fly. It's a good jet to learn with. It's a good jet to have fun with. I'm going to keep it around. I love it. I want to show you guys what all these things can do. I don't want it to just be one of those channels where we like fly in circles and we're like, yeah, it's good. I want to fly in figure eights, bouncing from tree to tree like this, showing you guys that, hey, I'm willing to make these things do insane cool stuff. That means they can do it and you can fly them too. Right into high alpha again. It's just super cool. You know? The goofy stuff we can get up to with this jet. Look at how low it got to the ground, and you're just not even worried about it.
Flight pack 21.38 volts.
This is one of the most ideal jets you can fly. I mean, it's very little else could be improved with it, aside from maybe having the full flying stabs. I like to do the touch and goes and whatnot, but you know what? Let's do one quick one. Oh, that was so smooth. You get that throttle application done just right, and it just settles in. I wish I wasn't recovering from a cold right now, but I feel so good to be out here in this cool air. It's just kind of the medicine I needed. Get out in the outdoors again. Another thing you can do too is these minimum radius landings, where you just kind of bring the plane around, yank it as quick as you can, keep the throttle applied.
22.43 volts.
And then you can just practice your landings in more adverse conditions rather than just like perfect straight lines. It's kind of more fun to do it like this too, because you're forcing yourself out of your comfort zone. Again, this is a fantastic jet. I hope you guys like what you see. We're going to get into the B-roll section just in a minute. Almost had a pure, like a pure wheelie the entire time.
It was.
21.71 volts.
The nose dropped briefly. All right, let's drop it in and then get into the B-roll just in a second here. Like we said on cam, the 70mm F-16 from FMS is a fantastic beginner's jet, one of the easiest to fly with lots of room for growth if you fly with a neutral or tail-heavy center of gravity. Even with an aft CG like our setup, we still trust it enough to fly right over our heads. The high alpha stability of this model is unparalleled. There are very few other jets on the market that will zip around like this one does, but then settle right into a stable high alpha pass. It's super easy to exit too, just throttle up and let the nose drop on its own by easing up on the elevator pressure. Steering is performed with rudder and small amounts of opposite aileron. With practice, you can actually fly this in circles as long as you want to. We made this ditch famous on Instagram with the Rafale 80mm, where it blew up with over 135,000 likes and a ton of comments. It's one of our favorite places to fly high alpha passes, and we think you can see why. The added challenge of the grass being there just makes it even more interesting for us to attempt flying over. We hope this gives you some ideas of what you can do with your own jet and maybe spark some creativity that will encourage you to go out and shoot your own content for YouTube or other social media. Thanks again for watching, and be sure to let us know what you think in the comments below. See you next time with a new upload.